Week 1 of the NFL season is in the books. It's overreaction season, everybody. A little bit, yeah. But more on that in the 2-minute drill at the end of this. But I'm here to give you my recap of the haps for Week 1 of the 2021 NFL season. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Thursday night saw a great kickoff to the season as Dak's 403 yards and 3 touchdown passes when he was less than 100%, impressive as it was, wasn't quite enough to hold off the Bucs. The defending champs hold off the Cowboys 31-29. As you shifted over to the Sunday slate of early games, or just Sunday's action in general, Jalen Hurts' 3 touchdown passes helped the Eagles flip Falcons the bird 32-6. Yikes. Not good. The Steelers ran off 20 straight points after being down 10-0, knocking off the Bills 23-16. Impressive win for the Steelers to start off the year. Joe Burrow's back, baby, and so are the Bengals. You can't tell them nothing. They get a game-winning kick on the last play of overtime, beat the Vikings 27-24. Down 24 in the fourth quarter. After the 49ers are kicking their ass all over the place, the Lions roared back. Dan Campbell and crew were coming for kneecaps. While Jeffrey Okuda's Achilles was coming for him, apparently. The Lions roared back, but ultimately came up a little bit short. 49ers hold them off to win 41-33. Perhaps Julio Jones won't make a difference, at least in a positive way. He was hardly targeted, didn't really do much. Did have a killer personal foul penalty, though. Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury start off the season very strong in impressive fashion, going on the road and destroying the Tennessee Titans 38-13. Russell Wilson has 4 touchdown passes, gives the Seahawks an opening road win over the Colts 28-16. Another good performance for them to start off the year. Fitzmagic goes down. Herbert comes up big in the fourth quarter when his team needed him to on that last drive. Chargers hold off Washington 20-16. Sam Darnold got his big revenge game. Kind of. But he had his moment in the sun against his former team. Rookie, second overall pick, Zach Wilson, struggled early but rallied later, recovered nicely. Panthers still had enough to hold them off. Panthers beat the Jets 19-14. Trevor Lawrence needs help, by God, and David Culley's pursuit of NFL Coach of the Year is officially underway. I'm going to beat the table for this. He's got 5 wins to go. Houston Texans with one of the shockers of Week 1. Maybe it's a shocker. I don't know. Fucking it is. Maybe the margin is. They pick off Trevor Lawrence 3 times. They comfortably beat the Jags 37-21. Browns-Chiefs was a classic. The Chiefs rallied from a double-digit deficit, and Baker's boner late in the game killed all hopes for the Browns. Got to be so hard for that fan base. There's a little skid mark moment there, kind of inspiring. Chiefs hold off the Browns 33-29. Mac Jones had the strongest performance of any of the rookie first-round quarterbacks in Week 1. He really shined, frankly. Tua was okay, not spectacular, but good enough. Dolphins hold off the Patriots 17-16. Could somebody please tell Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers that this is now the regular season? It is okay to actually show up like you care. I don't know what performance was worse. The fact that they let Jameis Winston throw for under 200 passing yards but gave up 5 passing touchdowns, or the fact that Aaron Rodgers had, 5 interceptions last year and already had 2 coming out of this game? Yikes. Saints destroyed the Packers in Jacksonville, of all things, 38-3. Now, if you're a Giants fan, it's a familiar refrain. Another week, another Danny Dimes fumble, another lackluster, disappointing performance by this Giants offense. Broncos D dominates, held Saquon Barkley in check. They win easily 27-13. If it wasn't for a late touchdown, the score wouldn't even be that close. Bears. Matt Nagy. Primetime matchup against the Rams. What the hell did you think was going to happen? Of course the Bears got boat raced. Of course the Bears got embarrassed. And it's not even like the Rams looked that great, frankly. That just speaks to how piss poor the Chicago Bears were in Week 1. Oh, God. I mean, what else the hell did you expect? The NFL keeps insisting on putting this game in prime time every year. I get media market stuff and size of media markets, but damn it all. There's got to be a quality of play and entertainment value, and it's not there for this game. Stop putting it at prime time. Rams win easily 34-14. Yeah, starting Andy Dalton. Got to see him in the regular season. Well, you've seen him. That's enough of that shit. And then the Monday night game. Did anybody want to win this damn thing? Holy cow. You want to talk about a cluster F of a train wreck of a foobar? Fantastic game this was. Goes to overtime. The Raiders are in position. On third down, Derek Carr's ball gets tipped. It's a pick. And then Baltimore fumbles. Carl Nassib forces the fumble on Lamar Jackson. And then of all damn things, Derek Carr and Zay Jones, that's right, Zay Jones, saying Zay Jones and separation deep just isn't a sentence I thought I would ever utter on this channel. Yet it happened in prime time, in overtime, on Monday night against the Baltimore Ravens. And as I so clairvoyantly predicted, Raiders win their season opener, beating the Ravens in overtime 33-27. I did actually pick the Raiders to win, just to be clear. So now let's talk about some of the winners and losers from the week that was. For the winners, I start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got to give Dapian credit here because they were down early to the Bills, and then they got hot and got into rhythm in the second and third quarter in particular. And the fact that they could go on the road and beat a quality opponent like the Buffalo Bills, a team that we were talking about with potential Super Bowl aspirations, that's a big win for them. And for the Arizona Cardinals, same thing. A lot of questions about Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, and through week one, there are no questions. Maybe it helps when Chandler Jones has 5 sacks, certainly. But they went and faced a quality opponent, playoff team from last year in the AFC, and the Tennessee Titans, and they embarrassed them. They destroyed them. Similarly for the Seattle Seahawks, going to be all types of questions about the Colts and, where was Darius Leonard in that game? What the hell was Carson Wentz doing? And so on and so forth. And how they got thoroughly outplayed and outcoached. Meanwhile, the Seahawks needed to start off strong because every other team in their damn Division I, so in order to keep pace, they were going to have to do so. Not a problem for the Packers. It's the ultimate mulligan game. You can frickin' sit there and lose, and it didn't matter because nobody else won in the NFC North either. But the Seahawks have to be winners. And I look at the Raiders, too. It was captivating in all those train wreck type of elements, that game on Monday night. But you're talking about the Ravens, a team that made it to the divisional round of the playoffs last year. Second year in a row they've made it that far. And the Raiders at home on Monday night, you really almost classify this as the true grand opening of their new stadium in Vegas, since you really didn't have fans last year. They came out in prime time and they got the job done. So, for a team that, maybe thinking of some playoff aspirations, they really needed a quality win like this, and they got it. So it was a big game for them. In terms of some of the losers, the Atlanta Falcons. It's one thing to lose an opening week, because it's just 1 week. It does not a season make, especially when you now have 17 regular season games instead of 16. But you got boat raced at home by Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. You have Matt Ryan. You have Arthur Smith, who was supposed to be a more qualified candidate than a Nick Sirianni, yet it's Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. They embarrassed you. The defense still stinks, and the offense of the Falcons couldn't do anything either. Not a good opening week performance for them. The Green Bay Packers, what more could be said? I don't know what's worse, the shitty defense or the shitty offense. They lost to the Saints 38-3. Not implausible that the Saints could win that game, but in such a dominant fashion. Now, if you're a cheesehead, you might take some stock in the fact of, hey, it can't get much worse, and you're right, it probably can't. You might also take a little stock in, hey, got to see Jordan Love for a little bit in the fourth quarter, and he didn't look terrible, and that's also true. You might also take stock and say, hey, I remember the Saints beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 38-3 last year, and that ended up working out okay for the Bucs. Lots of things you could take out of it. It is only week 1 after all, but they get lucky because nobody else in the division won. Because this division is trash. Talk about the NFC North, but not a good opening week performance for the Packers. And then, of course, Matt Nagy. What else do I need to say about the noontime numbskull? He was exposed again on prime time. It's comical if it wasn't so sad. When you're trending multiple times throughout the game because of how incompetent you are, how stupid you are, how horrendous your play calling is, how ineffective your offense is, how stubbornly stupid your decision to stick with Andy Dalton is, especially when your team is even down 20 points, so 3 minutes to go in the game. Like, that makes you a loser and a big loser and a potential early leader in the clubhouse to be the first head coach fired this year, although I highly doubt that based off of Chicago Bears history. In terms of some of the week one game balls, for quarterbacks, I'm going to go with Dak Prescott. I know he didn't get the win, and he's coming off of, not only the leg injury that cost him the rest of last season, but he had some arm problems as well. And even when he looked not at 100%, this is a defense that dominated Kansas City in the Super Bowl. This is a Tampa Bay Bucs team that is a legit contender. And he was able to go 42 of 58 for 403 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, if you're a Cowboys fan and you're trying to take heart in the fact that, not all losses are terrible, this certainly was not a bad loss. If anything, this was a momentum-building loss. If anything, this is an okay loss. Because you look at the Cowboys' schedule, it's soft as Charmin for a while now. Like, they established something in this game on Thursday night, and Dak Prescott certainly did that. He's back, and he's not even at his best yet. For the running backs, I know he didn't have technically the best statistical day, but I'm going to go with David Montgomery. Homer pick or not. 16 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown against that vaunted Los Angeles Rams defense. Montgomery was a monster. Montgomery was a beast. Running through tackles of Aaron Donald and so forth. Like, the Rams, are lucky that Matt Nagy's incompetent and that we didn't get more rushing attempts out of David Montgomery in this game because he could have done even more damage. But he ran like a man. He ran with a purpose. Like, he was a star of that game, one of the real positives for the Bears on Sunday night. In terms of wide receivers, tight ends, for wide receivers, I'll go with this one this week. Tyreek Hill, 11 catches, 197 yards, and a touchdown, helping lead the Chiefs over the Browns. Best defensive performance of the week, I guess, has to go to the New Orleans Saints, doesn't it? They only gave up 3 points against Aaron Rodgers and that Green Bay Packers offense. A couple of sacks, a couple of interceptions. Like, that was impressive shit. That was really impressive shit. If you're a Saints fan and you're saying, I don't want to overreact, but I want to feel confident about what I saw in week one, you saw that Jameis wasn't necessarily going to kill you, and you could still hit some big plays on offense, and more importantly, that defense is still really, really good in 2021. Coach, David Culley. Every week the Texans win this year, I'm probably going to say it's David Culley. It might be the only win they have this year, for all we know. It could be like the Jags last year where they win week one and lose out the rest of the way, but that was impressive shit for them. Even if it was against Jacksonville, a win is a win still in the NFL. And for a team with all the distractions and all the drama of the offseason to be able to come out in week one and fire basically on all cylinders like they did was really impressive shit. Which brings me to my 2-minute drill. And an important reminder for all of us, outside of a few notable examples, it is week one, so it is incredibly important not to overreact too much to what we saw. Now, if you're a fan of, let's say, the Chicago Bears, there is no overreaction. You know Nagy's a numbskull. You know his decision to start Andy Dalton week one was stupid and only looks worse now. So you know that. That's not an overreaction. If you're a Jags fan, you might say, hey, Trevor Lawrence had a rough debut in some ways, but he doesn't have much help, but he still did some decent things during the game, and it's going to be a process. Fair. Similar thing with Zach Wilson for the Jets. It's one game, but at least they got that experience. At least they got that first game out of the way. You look at some of these other things and you say, are the Bills going to really look that kind of lost and disheveled offensively all year? Probably not. You look at some other things and you say, are the Green Bay Packers going to be that bad offensively and defensively all year? Likely, certainly not. You don't know. But what you do know is it's very important not to overreact too much to what we saw in week one. Because based off of what we saw in week one, the Philadelphia Eagles are a real threat to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. How likely or believable is that? You get what I mean? Like, sometimes matchups are in your favor. Sometimes you just play well. Sometimes it's week one and the other team's just not ready, just not prepared, just not in a good rhythm. So, it's 1 week. Don't panic yet. Unless you're fans of a couple of teams, then you already know that this season is fucking over.